Good morning, guys. In the last session, we discussed about how many ways we can execute queries in the data JPA. Using data JPA, we can execute the queries in three ways, guys. One is by using predefined methods provided by JPA repository. One is by using predefined methods provided by JPA repository, like save method, save all method, find by ID, delete method, count method, exist by ID. Like that, there are several predefined methods available in the data JPA. By using those methods, we can perform operations with the table. Second one, if you have a custom requirement to execute query with the where conditions, and operator or operator like this, then you can go for find by methods. What is the meaning of find by methods? Find by methods are used to perform select operations on the table. That find by methods are only for retrieving the data. These are not for inserting, updating, and deleting. Okay, when we are working with the find by methods, we need to be very careful with the method name. So based on the method name, the query will be constructed. So find by entity class variable name you need to use. Find by is a fixed keyword. Then after entity class variable name we need to use. Based on this method name, JPA will prepare query like this and it will execute that query. That is called find by method. Okay, good. Yesterday we worked on find by methods in the JPA. We have written several find by methods and we are able to implement. Now, today we are going to understand how to work with the custom queries in the data JPA. So what is the meaning of custom query, guys? Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of custom queries in the data JPA? What is the meaning of custom queries in the data JPA? Any idea?
According to programmer.
Sorry, can you
Queries
comment?
written by the programmer.
According to programmers.
Custom queries nothing but write our own query and execute it. Custom query is nothing but write our own query and execute. So as of now, we used predefined methods and we created a find by method. Based on the method name, query got executed. Now I want to write my own query and I want to execute my query by using data JPA. That concept is called as custom queries concept. That concept is called as custom queries concept. So what is the meaning of custom queries and when we need to go for custom queries? Right, let's understand about custom queries. So custom queries are mainly used to execute our own queries. I don't want JPA to prepare the query for me. So when you go for predefined method, JPA preparing the query. When you go for find by method also, JPA preparing the query. So I don't want JPA to prepare the query for me. I want to prepare the query on my own. I will give the query to the JPA, then JPA should execute my query. That is called custom queries. Okay, so executing our own queries using data JPA. To execute our own queries using data JPA, we will use this custom queries concept. All right, now. So here, if you want to work with the custom queries, then we are going to use one annotation called @query annotation. To work with custom queries, there is one annotation called @query annotation. And custom queries we will write inside the repository interface only. How we are writing find by methods in the JPA repository, similarly custom queries methods also we will write in the JPA repository interface. Custom queries methods we will write in data JPA repository interface. To execute our own queries using data JPA, we will use this custom queries concept. Right? To work with the custom queries, there is one annotation called @query annotation available. Custom queries methods we will write in data JPA repository interface. We will write in the data JPA repository interface. Okay, next one, SQL queries. SQL queries. What is the meaning of these custom queries and SQL queries? Let's understand. Custom queries we can write in two ways in the data JPA, guys. So custom query we can write in the two ways in the data JPA. One is native SQL queries, nothing but our plain SQL queries we are going to write. And next one is HQL queries. Okay, so you can write your own query and you can give to JPA for the execution. If you are doing like that, that concept is called custom query. So to work with the custom queries, we are going to use one annotation, that is @query annotation. And custom queries methods we will write in JPA repository interface. And custom queries we can write in two ways. One is by using native SQL and the second one is by using HQL. Are you clear? Okay, good. Let's understand what is SQL. Let's understand what is SQL queries. Let's understand what is SQL queries. So directly you can write the SQL queries and you can execute. But the problem is SQL queries are database dependent queries. SQL queries are database dependent. That means, so if you go for SQL query in the Oracle, we will use data type as a number, whereas in the MySQL data type is a int. Okay, so some database to database, the syntaxes of the SQL is going to be different. So when we are creating a table for the salary, in the Oracle we will use number, in the MySQL we will use int. So that's the reason we will say SQL queries are database dependent queries. So if you are writing the SQL queries to communicate with the Oracle database, then these SQL queries will work with only Oracle database. So for example, I'm developing my application, assume that. So I'm developing my Spring Boot application or any Java application, any Spring Boot application or Java application I'm developing. My Java application is communicating with the Oracle database. Okay, to communicate with the Oracle database, Java application will use SQL as a mediator. SQL stands for structured query language. SQL stands for structured query language. By using this SQL, our Java application will communicate with the Oracle database. By using Java application, by using SQL, our Java application will communicate with the Oracle database. Okay, we are going to write all the Oracle related SQL queries in our application. We are going to write all the SQL queries in our application, and it is going to communicate with only Oracle database. Now tomorrow, if I want to change it to the another database, then is it going to work? No. So here I am writing 1000 SQL queries. 1000 queries I am writing by using SQL. 1000 queries I am writing by using SQL. So these 1000 queries are going to communicate with the Oracle database. Okay, and Oracle database SQL language I am using in my Java application. 1000 queries I have created. Using these 1000 queries, I want to communicate with Oracle database by using SQL. So Oracle is commercial database. After a few days, client told that, boss, I don't have money to purchase the license of the Oracle. Can you change our application to the MySQL database? can you change our application to MySQL database? Now, if I change the application to MySQL database, just if you change the driver, can our application communicate with the MySQL database with the 1000 queries? No. The 1000 queries we have written for Oracle database may not work with the MySQL. Some queries may work, but all the queries may not work with the MySQL database because Oracle SQL syntaxes, MySQL SQL syntaxes are going to be different. So the SQL queries which are working with one database may not work with the other database as expected. The SQL queries which are working with one database may not work with the another database as expected. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me?
Yes, sir.
Right? So what is the problem with the SQL queries now? What is the problem with the SQL queries now? Is there any problem or there is no problem?
SQL query dependent on
Database
dependent.
Yes, SQL queries are database dependent. SQL queries are database dependent. So in my Java application, I have written 1000 queries and my Java application communicating with Oracle database by using SQL. After some time, after a few days, client told that there is no budget for the Oracle database license. Let's migrate our application to MySQL database. So to migrate our application to MySQL database, then what about these 1000 queries? These 1000 queries are compatible with Oracle, may not compatible with MySQL. Then we need to change the 1000 queries which are required. Then once you change the queries, again, the testing is required. Once you change the queries again, the testing is required here. Once we change the queries again, the testing is required. That is very, very difficult here. That is very, very difficult here. It will take a lot of time because we need to change the queries. We need to change the queries. And again, we need to test the queries also. We need to change the queries. And again, we need to test the queries also. So this is maintenance problem. So when you work with SQL queries, the maintenance problem will be available because SQL queries are database dependent queries. So in the Oracle, we will use number as a data type. In the MySQL, we will use int as a data type. Okay. So Oracle DB SQL queries may not work with MySQL DB. So SQL queries we are writing to communicate with Oracle DB. SQL queries we are writing to communicate with Oracle DB. To communicate with Oracle DB may not work with MySQL DB. So that's why we are going to call SQL queries as database dependent queries. And when we are writing the SQL queries in the project, we are going to use table name and column names directly. When we are working with the SQL queries, guys, so we are going to use table name and column names directly. Example, select star from employee data, where employee underscore salary greater than or equal to some 10,000, something like this. So here, when we are writing the SQL query, in that query, directly we are going to use the table name and column names directly. Okay, fine. So this is how we are going to work with SQL. SQL queries are DB dependent queries. SQL queries we are writing to communicate with Oracle DB may not work with the MySQL DB. In SQL query, we will use the table names and column names directly. Okay, so if you want to change from one DB to another DB, if you want to change our application, from one database to another database, then we have to modify SQL queries and we have to retest the entire application. Okay, it is going to take a lot of time, guys. This is called maintenance problem. This is called maintenance problem. So if you want to change our application from one database to another database, then we need to change the queries and we need to retest our entire application. So this is maintenance problem. So that's why we should not go with the SQL queries in the project. We need to make our application loosely coupled. So whatever the queries I'm writing in my application, those queries should be able to communicate with the Oracle database as well as MySQL database also. I want to write database independent queries, guys. So SQL queries, if you write in the project, they are called as database dependent queries. So the SQL queries we are writing to work with the Oracle database may not work with the MySQL database. The SQL queries we are writing to work with Oracle database may not work with the MySQL database. All right. So that's why what we need to do here, whatever the SQL queries we are writing, they will use table name and column name directly, and they are database dependent. So if you want to change your application from one database to another database, then we have to modify the SQL queries and we have to retest the entire application. To make our application loosely coupled with the database, we can use HQL queries. All right. SQL queries are database dependent queries. SQL queries we are writing to communicate with Oracle DB may not work with MySQL DB. In the SQL queries, we will use table names and column names directly. So if you want to change our application from one DB to another DB, then we have to modify the SQL queries and we have to retest our entire application. So that's why these are called as DB dependent. So to make our application loosely coupled with the database, we can use HQL queries. So instead of working with the SQL queries, guys, if you work with the HQL queries, the HQL queries are database independent queries. HQL queries are database independent queries. What is the meaning of a HQL? HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. What is a HQL? HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. HQL queries are database independent. So that means whatever the HQL query you are writing, that a HQL query can work with Oracle database, it can work with MySQL, it can work with SQL Server also. So when you are writing HQL queries in the application, instead of writing SQL queries, if you write HQL queries in the application, that a HQL query can communicate with any database available in the market. So tomorrow, if you change your application from one DB to another DB, you no need to change a single query also, because we are writing HQL queries. So what is the meaning of a HQL? HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. And these HQL queries are database independent queries. So what is the main advantage of going with HQL queries? HQL queries will make our application loosely coupled with the database. That means you can use any database for your application. You don't need to bother about the queries syntax, because if you go with SQL, then you need to bother about the syntax, because the SQL queries working with one database may not work with the another database. So that's why we are going to use HQL. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. HQL queries are database independent queries. HQL queries will make our application loosely coupled with the database. So now here HQL queries, when we are writing the HQL queries, we are going to use entity class name and entity variable names. If you see in the SQL query, we are using table name and column names directly. But whereas when we are writing the HQL queries, in the query we are going to use entity class name and entity class variable name. We will use entity class name and entity class variable name. So for example, I want to retrieve all the records from the table from employee, where employee gender is equal to male, something like this. This is HQL query. Here it is entity class, it is entity class variable name. So when we are working with the HQL queries, we will use entity class name and entity class variable names in the query. Whereas when you are working with the SQL, we will use table name and we will use column names directly. So what is HQL, guys? HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. HQL queries are database independent. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. HQL queries are database independent. HQL queries will make our application loosely coupled with the database. So in HQL queries, we will use entity class name and entity class variable names. So from employee, where gender is equal to male. From employee, where gender is equal to male, that we are going to write. So here, if you observe, if you observe here, SQL queries are database dependent, HQL queries are database independent. But here, when we are writing the HQL queries in the application, right? So Java application is available. In my Java application, I'm writing HQL queries to make my application loosely coupled with the database. So here we are using a database. Suppose we are using Oracle DB. So in my Java application, I am writing HQL queries. I'm writing HQL queries. So when we are writing the HQL query cannot communicate with the database directly. Database is RDBMS, right? RDBMS will understand only SQL. But in my project, I'm writing HQL. So database cannot understand our HQL query directly. So that's why what we need to do before executing the HQL query, that HQL query should be converted into one SQL query. Okay, so whatever the HQL query we are writing, that HQL query should be converted into SQL query, then only it will execute. So here I'm executing HQL, database cannot understand the HQL, that should be converted into SQL. Whatever the HQL query we are writing, that HQL query should be converted into SQL. To do that conversion, we are going to use a class called dialect class. Okay, so whereas if you write SQL queries, that SQL query can be executed with the database directly. SQL queries will use a table name and class name. So Java application will execute SQL directly, it will communicate with the database. Whereas when you work with the HQL is a database independent and a database cannot understand the HQL. Our database cannot understand the HQL. So the HQL query should be converted to SQL for the execution. Whatever the HQL query we are writing, that HQL query should be converted into SQL query for the execution. So who will convert the HQL query to the SQL? That's where dialect class will be available. So as we are working with Oracle DB, here Oracle dialect class will be used. Here Oracle dialect class will be used so that HQL query that is executing will be converted into Oracle understandable format. Similarly, if you are using MySQL database, then what will happen? So here MySQL SQL query is required. So MySQL DB I am using. So the Oracle dialect is, now I am going to change to MySQL dialect. So if you are using MySQL database, then HQL query will be converted into MySQL database understandable format. So when you write HQL queries, the queries are database independent. Okay, they will use entity class name and entity variable name. But our HQL query cannot execute with the database directly. Database cannot understand the HQL. Database cannot understand the HQL. Our database should be converted into, our HQL query should be converted into database understandable format. Query should be converted into database understandable format. Okay, to convert that into database understandable format, we need one dialect class. that a dialect class is based on the database. Every database having their own dialect class. Every database is having their own dialect class. Are you guys able to follow me? Every database is having their own dialect class. So if you are using Oracle database, then it will use Oracle dialect class. If you are using MySQL database, it will use MySQL dialect class. So the dialect class is specific to particular database. The dialect class is specific to particular database. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so Java application is communicating with the database by using HQL. HQL queries are database independent. We cannot use the HQL with the database directly because database will understand SQL. So why we are writing HQL then? To make our application loosely coupled with the database. So the HQL queries that we are writing can work with any database in the market. Just we need to change the driver, that's it. Instead of changing each and every query, just if you change the driver, then that driver will give the dialect class. That dialect class will convert our HQL query into database understandable format. Okay. So here database cannot understand HQL directly. Database cannot understand HQL directly. So HQL query should be converted to SQL for the execution. HQL should be converted into SQL for the execution. So who is responsible to do that conversion, guys? Who will convert our HQL query into SQL query?
Dialect.
Yes. Dialect classes are used to convert HQL queries to SQL queries, and every database having its own dialect class. Every database will have its own dialect class. So if you are working with Oracle, then Oracle dialect class will be used. If you are working with MySQL, MySQL dialect, DB2 dialect, SQL Server dialect, etc., multiple dialect classes available in the market. Like this, multiple dialect classes available in the market. Okay, so let's talk about custom queries. So what is the meaning of custom queries, guys? What is the meaning of custom queries in the data JPA?
Programmers can write their own queries.
What is the meaning of custom queries? If a programmer is writing the queries to execute, if a programmer is writing the queries to execute, then those are called as custom queries. So to execute our own queries using data JPA, then we will use custom queries concept. So total, in how many ways we can execute the queries in the data JPA, guys? Total, in how many ways we can execute queries in the data JPA?
3 ways.
So total we can execute the queries in the data JPA in 3 ways. What are those 3 ways? One is by using repository predefined methods. CRUD repository provided some methods. JPA repository also provided some methods. Using those predefined methods, we can work with JPA, and you can write your own methods by using find by keyword. If you have a custom requirement to execute the queries like select queries, then you can go with the find by methods. Then custom queries. So that means you want to write your own query and you execute, then it is called as custom queries concept. All right, find by methods we are writing and custom queries we are working. Custom queries means you write your own query and you execute it by using data JPA. So executing our own queries by using JPA is called as custom queries. To work with the custom queries, we will use @query annotation. Okay, so the custom query related methods we are going to write in the repository interface only, and the custom queries we can write in 2 ways. One is by using native SQL, another one is by using HQL. So SQL queries are database dependent queries, guys. SQL queries are database dependent queries. SQL queries we are writing to communicate with Oracle DB may not work with MySQL DB. The queries that we are writing to communicate with Oracle database may not work with the MySQL database. So in the SQL, we will write the table names and column names directly. But the problem, database is tested. When we change the database, queries may not work. We need to change the queries and we need to test the application. So I want to make my application loosely coupled with the database. So that's why we are going to write HQL queries in the application. We are going to work with HQL queries in the application. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language, and these HQL queries are database independent. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. These queries are database independent. HQL queries will make our application loosely coupled with the database. And in these queries, we are going to use entity class name and entity class variable names. And the database cannot understand the HQL directly. So we need to convert the HQL query to SQL for execution. Who is responsible to do that? Dialect classes will be available to convert our HQL query into SQL. So which database we are using? That DB dialect class will be used. Suppose if you are using Oracle database, that HQL will be converted into Oracle understandable format. It will convert it into the SQL query which is understandable by Oracle database. If you are using MySQL database in the project, your HQL query will be converted into the SQL which can be understood by MySQL database. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you able to understand the difference between SQL and HQL? Are you guys able to understand the difference between SQL and HQL?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now let us write some SQL queries and corresponding HQL queries. So if you are having SQL query like this, something like this, select star from employee table where employee ID is equal to 101. This is SQL. So if you see in the SQL, table name and the column name is available. So when we are writing the SQL queries, in those queries we are going to use the table name and the column name directly. Whereas when we are working with the HQL, just from employee where EMP ID is equal to 101. So this is the matching SQL for that. So if you want to write the SQL queries directly, this is the query. If you want to work with the HQL, this is the query. From employee means select star from employee. When you write from employee, employee is an entity that is mapped to a table. When you write from employee, that is equal to select star from employee, where employee ID. Here we are using table name. Here we are using entity class name. Here we are using column name. Here we are using entity class variable name. Are you able to understand? So if you are writing a select query to retrieve all the records from the table, the query is going to be select star from employee table. Then what is the corresponding HQL for that? We are going to write from employee. That's it. From employee is equal to select star from employee table. From employee is equal to select star from employee. Select star from employee where employee ID is equal to 101. Now, for example, I want to retrieve only few columns from the table. Not select star means all the columns will come. I want to get select employee ID, comma, employee name from employee table. Here we are writing select star from. When you write select star from, all the columns will come and all the tables also will come. I mean, from the table, all the records will come. Select star from employee table. Select star from employee table. Then from employee we are using. From employee means select star from table. We are going to retrieve all the records from the table. We are going to retrieve all the records from the table. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys
Yes,
able
sir.
to follow me?
Yes, sir.
Right? Select the star from table, then from employee. So here, select specific columns from the table. I want to retrieve particular columns from the table, not all the columns. Then how to write HQL for that? The HQL, select employee ID comma employee name from employee. So wherever you are writing the column name, table name, here entity class variable name, entity class name, we are going to write. Entity class variable name and entity class name we are going to specify. Are you clear with my point?
Sir.
Are you guys clear with my point?
Yes, sir.
What is
Yes, sir.
SQL and what is HQL? Now, can anyone tell me what is the difference between SQL queries and HQL queries? What is the difference between SQL queries and HQL queries, guys?
SQL queries we write the table name and column name. In SQL query we write the entity class name and entity's class variable name.
Yeah. What is the major difference between SQL and HQL?
SQL is database dependent and SQL is database independent.
Of data.
Yeah. SQL queries are database dependent queries. SQL queries are database dependent queries, whereas HQL queries are database independent queries. SQL queries are database dependent queries. HQL queries are database independent queries. So when you work with SQL, when you want to change the database, then all the queries may not work with all the database. Yeah, can anyone repeat? What is the problem?
We want to migrate from database to database. We want to write all the code.
What is the difference between that?
The difference is like so we can easily switch in from one DB to another DB if you use SQL. Like.
Yes. So SQL queries are database dependent. HQL queries are database independent. HQL queries are database dependent. HQL queries are database independent. So can we execute SQL query in the database directly, guys? Can we execute SQL query in the database directly?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can we
Yes, sir.
execute SQL query in the database directly?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
But can I execute HQL query in the database directly?
No, sir.
No. Why we can't execute HQL query in the database?
DB SQL queries are not
DB can't understand the
Why the
SQL.
database?
Database cannot understand HQL queries. So then what we need to do?
We have to create direct class.
So by using
Direct
class, we can convert from SQL to SQL.
We cannot execute the HQL query directly in the database because database cannot understand the HQL. Database cannot understand the HQL. So we need to convert our HQL query into database understandable format. Who will take that responsibility? Who will take that responsibility to convert HQL query to SQL
Class.
dialect? Do I need to configure the dialect, or driver class will detect the dialect class?
Private class.
Class will detect.
Direct class will be there.
Do I need to configure the dialect or not required?
It's not required.
Not required. Based on the driver that we are adding, it will identify which dialect class is required for the project. Based on the dialect class we are using, it will identify which database we are using, how to convert it, the dialect class is going to take care. What is the annotation we need to use to execute a custom query in the JPA, and where to write the custom query methods in the JPA?
At the red query.
Red query.
At the red query, and we can use it in interface.
Yes.
Repository.
In the JPA repository interface, we can write the custom query methods, and to write the custom query methods, we are going to use at the rate
Red
query
query.
annotation. All right. Now let me do the practicals on this. My employee entity is available. Employee repository. Can I delete these methods? I have given these methods in the notes now. Okay. I'm removing these methods, guys. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
So let me go to my service also. In the service also, there are several methods are there. Let me delete all these things. I have mentioned all these things in the notes for your practice, guys. Yeah, let me connect with my table, my SQL workbench. So let me use my database. Select star from employee. Yeah, there are 4 records available in the employee. Now go to employee repository. Currently there are no methods available. Now I want to execute my own method. Then I'm writing one method, public list of employee. Here method name is not important, guys. You can write any name for the method, because if you are using find by method, then method name is important, because based on the method name only the query will be prepared. But here JPA is preparing the query, programmer is preparing the query. Guys, here JPA preparing the query, programmer is preparing the query.
Programmer.
Programmer is preparing the query. So can I use any name for the method now?
Yes.
It's up to you. Yeah. Now let me go for @query annotation. @query. So what is the query that you want to execute? From employee. So employee is my entity class. From employee I am using, that is my entity class from employee. So employee entity class, instead of table name, we will use entity class name. Instead of column name, we will use entity class variable names here. So from employee, we are using public list of employees, get all employees we have. From employee, we are using. Now let me go to the service and let us write one method, public void get employees. So employee repository dot get all employees. So which is going to return all the employees data. Which is going to return all the employees data. Let me store into a variable. All the employees are coming. So you can print it all employees dot for each system dot out colon println. So this is used to print the data that we are getting from that table by using custom query. Get all employees is my method. I'm executing a custom query. So to work with custom queries, we will use @query annotation, and the custom queries we are going to write in the repository interface only. You can write find by methods, and you can write custom queries also in the repository interface. Then go to this class EMP service. Okay, EMP service dot get the EMPs we are calling. Then let me run this application. Let me run this application. Go to console, clear the console, see that the query is getting executed or not. Database connection is preparing. Yes, it is executing our select query and it is retrieving all the records which are available in the database table. Able to follow this? Yes, all the queries got executed and it is printing the data on the console. Now I want to get the records based on the gender. Okay, then how to write a query? Public list of employees. Okay, get by gender, get EMPs with gender. Method name can be anything, guys. Method name is not important here. Get employees with the gender. Based on the gender, multiple employees can be available. So I'm taking list of employee as a return type. I'm taking list of employee as a return type. Public list of employee, get employees with the gender. Now let me go with the @query annotation. Then from employee where employee gender is equal to :gender. Whatever method parameter name is available, that value I want to supply to the query. So that's why we are using named positional parameter. When we are working with the custom queries, we need to pass named positional parameters. So that's why we are using :gender. So this query will be executed by data JPA. When the data JPA executing this query, this method parameter should be supplied to the query dynamically. So your query is having :gender, that is named positional parameter gender. So here if you give yes, then here you need to give yes only. Method parameter name will match with that query parameter. So that method parameter value will be supplied to the query parameter like this. So we are going to write this custom query by using @query annotation. Query from employee, list of employee, getting all the employees. Getting all the employees. List employee, get employees with gender. So I'm able to write one HQL query. In the HQL query, we are using class name and we are using variable names. Entity class name and entity class variable names we are going to use in the custom queries. So whatever the custom query that you have, you can execute that custom query here. Now let me call this method get employees with gender. So here get by gender, employees, get employees with gender. So whatever the value that you pass, it will be applied to the where clause and it will retrieve the data. Get employees. First method will retrieve all the employees from the table. Second method will retrieve the employees based on the gender. Okay, let us call this method employee service dot get employees by gender. Then run this. Run as boot application. Yeah. So only male employee records I want to retrieve. Gender is equal to male. Now see, out of 4 records, only 3 records we are getting because one female record is available, which is filtered by using our HQL query. Select a star from table where gender is equal to male. With the given condition, 3 records are matching and we are able to get those 3 records here. Are you clear with my point? Yeah. So HQL query, we are able to write and we are able to execute. We are writing HQL, but in the database, which query is getting executed, guys? We are writing HQL, but in the database, which query is executing? HQL query is executing with the database. SQL query executing with the database.
SQL query.
SQL query. Who is converting that HQL query to SQL query?
Dialect
class.
The dialect class is converting our HQL query into SQL query. The dialect class is converting the HQL query into SQL query. Are you able to follow me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now I want to execute one SQL query. Directly SQL I want to write. Okay. So I'm writing public list of employee. Okay. Get employees SQL query I'm writing. So what is the SQL query for that? @query. So what is the query for that? Select star from, what is the table name? Employee. Select star from employee we are writing. So when you write the SQL query like this, you need to keep value is equal to that select star from employee, comma, native SQL is equal to, native query is equal to true. Okay. So if you are writing HQL query, then you can write the query directly like this. But if you are writing SQL query, then you need to specify that it is a native query. Native query is equal to true. Native query means it is SQL query. No need to do the conversion. This query can execute directly in the table, in the database. If it is a HQL, then only conversion is required. If it is a HQL, then only conversion is required. If it is SQL, conversion is not required. This query can be executed directly with the database. So that's why we are giving native query is equal to true. If you don't write native query is equal to true, if you don't write this option, then JPA will understand this as a HQL only. But it is not a HQL, it is SQL. For that, we need to specify native query is equal to true to convert that HQL query into SQL query. To convert that HQL query into SQL query, we are going to do this operation. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
if we require to write that SQL, it is dependent, no? So directly we can write it like a
Yeah, I'm showing you
SQL.
how to execute. If you have any requirement, how to execute, I'm showing you this option.
Just asking, sir. Already I faced one problem, so only I'm communicating with you, sir.
Okay. I will tell you when to go for HQL, when to go for SQL. First, understand the concept
Sure, sir.
and which is better, I will tell you.
Sure.
Guys, you understand how to write SQL query? What is the purpose of this? Native query is equal to true. What is the meaning of this native query is equal to true? Any idea?
No conversion required. That way it can
Yes,
be
native
executed.
query is equal to true means dialect class conversion is not required. It is a direct database dependent query. So let me call this get EMPs with SQL. Get employees with SQL. So employee repository dot get employees SQL query. Get employees with the SQL query. Now application.java. Let us comment on this. Then let's go with the employee service dot get employees with the SQL. So right click, run as boot application. Go to the console. Clear this. Yes. Query is converted or query is executed as it is?
Query executed as
Executed as it is.
Query converted or query executed as it is?
not converted.
Not converted because it is a native query. For native queries, conversion is not required. For HQL queries, conversion is required. For native queries, conversion is not required. So I hope you got the clarity. What is custom query and why we need to go for custom queries, and how many ways we can execute custom query. Native SQL, plain SQL queries. Okay, SQL and HQL. Good. SQL queries are database dependent. So we will use a table name and column name in the SQL query. Tomorrow, if you want to change our application from one database to another database, then we need to change all the queries and we need to retest the application. So to avoid that problem, we are using HQL queries. HQL stands for query language, Hibernate query language. The HQL queries are database independent, and the HQL queries will make our application loosely coupled with the database. And here we will use entity class name and entity class variable names only. And HQL should be converted to SQL for the execution. That part will be taken care by dialect class. So in this project, guys, is there any dialect class configured in the properties file? In this project, is there any dialect class configured in the properties file?
No, sir.
Dialect class is configured, dialect class is not configured.
Not configured.
Dialect class is not configured in the properties file. Then how the dialect class is coming into the picture? Based on the driver, it is going to identify. See here, HQL parser will be used. Hibernate is in class path. If applicable, HQL parser will be used. What is that HQL parser? What is the meaning of a parser? Converting. So HQL parser, nothing but dialect class will be used internally in order to do the parsing. Dialect class will be used internally in order to do the parsing. Are you clear with my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, by using this custom queries, can we do update and delete operations also? We are doing the retrieval operations, right? Can we do update, delete, and insert operations also by using this custom queries? That is going to be assignment for you. Okay. Perform insert, update, and delete operations by using custom queries. Assignment. Perform, implement, insert plus update plus delete using custom HQL queries. Can you try that? By using custom queries, you can do all the CRUD operations. But I have shown you how to perform the select operation by using custom query. I have shown you how to perform the select operation by using custom query. Now, I want you to perform the operation. I want you to perform the insert, update, delete operations by using HQL queries. Can you guys try this? We can do that. Custom queries will support for all the CRUD operations, whereas find by methods will support only for select operations. When you are going with the find by methods, using find by methods, you can perform only select operations. By using custom queries, we can do all the CRUD operations. I want to do the CRUD operations by using custom query. Okay, next one. The question is, which is better? SQL is better or HQL is better, guys? Which is better? SQL is better or HQL is better?
SQL.
SQL is better or HQL is better?
SQL.
SQL is better, huh?
HQL.
SQL is better.
Why?
SQL is better.
Why?
So again, we are adding one more step to conversion to execute the query.
Right. So here, which is better? Either SQL is better or HQL is better. It depends on your project scenario. When you write SQL queries in the project, right? That query will execute directly with the database. No need of any conversion. Whenever you write the SQL query, your SQL query will work with the database directly. You no need to do any conversion for that. So when we are talking about performance wise, SQL is better. Performance wise, SQL is better. Because when you write the SQL query, directly it will execute with the database. Directly it will execute with the database. No need of any conversion. But when you go for a HQL query cannot execute with the database. HQL query should be converted into SQL query. HQL query should be converted into SQL query. Are you able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me? Guys, come on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So whenever you write the SQL query, directly that query will execute. So performance wise, SQL is faster than HQL because every HQL query should be converted into HQL to execute. Every HQL query should be converted into SQL for execution. So performance wise, SQL is better than HQL. Then flexibility wise, maintenance wise, which is better, guys? Maintenance wise, which is better?
HQL.
Why maintenance wise HQL is better? Tomorrow, if you want to change from one database to another database, you want to change from one database to another database, then you need to modify all the queries, or you no need to modify all the queries?
No need to modify all queries.
No need to modify all the queries. So whether SQL is better or HQL is better, it depends on your project scenario. It depends on your project scenario. So if you want fast performance when we are executing the queries, go with SQL. So performance is not matter for me. Luxury is important. Tomorrow, when I want to change from one DB to another DB, my queries should execute without any problem. Then you can go with HQL. HQL requires one step extra to convert into SQL. That's why performance wise, SQL is better. Flexibility wise, HQL is better. Okay, so this is the point. Which is better, SQL or HQL? Performance wise, SQL is better. Flexibility wise, HQL is better. All right. So with this, we understood JPA. What is JPA? Why we are going for JPA? What is the data source? What is entity? What is repository? Developing the application by using data JPA, configuring data source properties, configuring ORM properties, creating the entity class, creating the repository interface, performing the CRUD operations, okay, and working with the predefined methods in the repository, working with the find by methods to perform some select operations with the custom conditions, and working with custom queries, writing our own query and executing that, HQL queries, SQL queries, the difference between SQL and HQL also we understood. So I hope, is this clear for everyone? I hope this is clear for everyone. Then next part, next important part here, as of now, in our project, we are using CRUD repository. So we have already seen what is CRUD repository. In the CRUD repository, there are 12 methods available to perform CRUD operations. You can perform insert, you can perform update, retrieve, and delete. Why there is no update method available in the repository, guys? Why there is no update method available in the repository?
Same method performs both insert and update.
Why there is no update method in the repository?
Same method is episode method which perform both of
Same method.
In the repository, we are having save method. Save method is used for update also. That is, save method is called as upsert method. So if the record is already available, it will update. If the record is not available, then it will insert. So that's why there is no update method. So we used CRUD repository as of now. In the JPA, there is another interface is available, which is called JPA repository. There is another interface available, which is JPA repository. What is this JPA? This is also a predefined JPA interface only to perform database operations. This is predefined data JPA interface which is used to perform DB operations. So how we are using CRUD repository? In the same way, we can use JPA repository also. JPA is a predefined data JPA interface which is used to perform CRUD operations. Sir, to perform the CRUD operations already CRUD repository is available now. Then why to go for JPA repository? To perform the CRUD operations already CRUD repository available, then why JPA repository available? So JPA repository is providing more functionalities than CRUD repository. So JPA repository is equal to CRUD repository plus sorting plus pagination plus query by example. When you go for CRUD repository, you can perform only CRUD operations. When you go for JPA repository, whatever the methods available in the CRUD repository, you can perform those methods. Extra, you can perform sorting, you can perform pagination, you can perform query by example also. So you can implement sorting, pagination, query by example by using JPA repository. So now can you tell me what is the difference between CRUD repository and JPA repository, guys? What is the difference between CRUD repository and JPA repository now?
In CRUD repository, we can perform CRUD operations, but in JPA repository, we can perform CRUD as well as sorting, pagination, and query by example.
Yes. When you go for CRUD repository, you can perform only CRUD operations. Whereas when you go for JPA repository, you can perform CRUD operations, you can perform sorting, you can perform pagination, and you can perform query by example also. Now, what is the relation between this CRUD repository and JPA repository? Let's understand. Now, first, in the JPA, there is one interface available, guys, marker interface, which is called repository interface. Repository interface is available, which is marker interface. Then we are having CRUD repository. CRUD repository is extending the properties from repository interface. So in this repository interface is a marker interface. Suppose if any interface want to represent as a JPA repository, then they need to extend the properties from repository interface. The repository interface is a marker interface. What is the meaning of a marker interface? Guys, come on. What is the meaning of a marker interface?
An interface which
What
is
is the
having
meaning of a
zero
marker
method.
interface, guys?
An interface which does not have any body.
Search without any body.
The interface which does not contain any body
method
is called as a marker interface. Then CRUD repository available. How many methods available in the CRUD repository?
12.
12 methods available in the CRUD repository. Then there are another two repositories available: paging and sorting, query by example. Paging and sorting. One more interface is available, which is paging and sorting, and another one, query by example. Query by example. Now here, paging and sorting interface, query by example interface are available, right? Paging and sorting interface extending the properties from CRUD repository. Paging and sorting extending the properties from CRUD repository. And finally, here our JPA repository is available. Here JPA repository is available. This JPA repository extending the properties from paging and sorting, extending the properties from query by example. So now tell me, which interface provides more functionalities now? You understand this diagram?
JPA repository.
JPA repository will provide the more functionalities. Why JPA repository will provide the more functionalities?
Paging and sorting query by example.
Extend the CRUD repository.
It's a combination
The
of
paging
paging,
sorting.
sorting, query by example.
Yes, look at this. All are interfaces only. So can I say JPA repository indirectly extending the properties from CRUD repository?
Yes, sir.
Can we say that JPA repository is indirectly extending the properties from CRUD repository?
Yes, sir.
So whatever the methods available in the CRUD repository, can we access in the JPA repository?
Yes, sir.
JPA repository extending from the paging and sorting is extending from the CRUD repository. So if you go for CRUD repository, you can perform only basic CRUD operations. But if you go for JPA CRUD operations, you can perform pagination sorting, query by example also you can perform. So that means extra functionalities are available in the JPA repository. JPA repository will give you the additional functionalities which are not supported by our CRUD repository. Additional functionalities are provided by JPA repository which are not available in the CRUD repository. Additional functionalities will be provided which are not available in the CRUD repository. I hope you are clear with my point.
Yes, sir.
So if you go to Flipkart, as I have shown you Flipkart example to understand the additional features of JPA. So in the Flipkart, when you go to particular mobiles category, now, okay, category mobiles and accessories, let me select only mobiles. Total how many mobiles are available in the Flipkart, guys? If you see the screen, total how many mobiles are available?
9,400.
Okay, now I want to price low to high, sort based on the price. The least mobile in the Flipkart, 649 rupees. Okay, the least mobile in the Flipkart is 649. Then 649, 649, 659. So like this, the least mobiles that you can see, price low to high and price high to low. The highest price mobile in the Flipkart is 2 lakhs. The highest price mobile in the Flipkart is 2 lakhs, that is Samsung Galaxy foldable mobile is available. Then after that 1,77,000, then 1,76,000, then 1,76,000, one Apple 1,69,000 Apple iPhone 15 Pro is available. Apple iPhone 15. So we are able to sort the mobiles based on the price. So this is called sorting. This is called sorting. Next one. What is pagination? So 9,000 mobiles available, but they are displaying all the 9,000 mobiles here, or they are displaying only 24 mobiles here. They are displaying all the 9,000 mobiles, or they are displaying only 24 mobiles?
Only 24.
They are displaying only 24 mobiles. They are displaying only 24 mobiles. So that is called pagination. That concept is called as pagination. Instead of displaying all the records available in the table, they have divided the records into multiple pages, which is called as pagination. Sorting means ascending order, descending order. So in the Flipkart mobile screen, sorting is available, pagination is available, plus filter is available. Currently, all the mobiles they are displaying. Now I want to filter only Samsung mobiles. Out of 9,000, currently select star from mobiles. They are getting everything. Now when I select brand as a Samsung, then Samsung brand mobiles 782 available. So can I say this is a filter applied now? This is query by example. Based on the filter condition, our query will execute. Based on the filter condition, our query is going to execute. Are you able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. So here, if you observe, in the Flipkart mobile's screen, all the functionalities are available. So sorting is available, pagination is available, and query by example is available. So these things we can implement by using JPA repository. So JPA repository is a predefined interface which is used to perform database operations. Using JPA repository, we can perform below operations. Okay, what are those? CRUD operations we can perform. Then next one, sorting we can perform, and the next one, pagination we can perform, and the next one, query by example also we can perform. Query by example means dynamic query creation. Dynamic query creation we can do by using query by example. JPA repository. This is a predefined data JPA interface which is used to perform the CRUD operations. Using this repository, we can perform CRUD operations, sorting, pagination, query by example. Dynamic query creation we can do by using this JPA repository. JPA repository is equal to CRUD repository plus sorting plus pagination plus query by example. Now, so what we need to do in order to work with this JPA repository? Simple. Instead of extending from the CRUD repository, can I extend from the JPA repository now? Guys, instead of extending from the CRUD repository, simply can I extend from the JPA repository? Yes. In the JPA repository also, you can work with the find by methods. You can work with the custom queries. You can work with the predefined methods, everything, whatever that you want, you can do in the JPA repository also. All right, now let me perform some operations with the sorting. Let me perform some operations with the sorting in the data JPA. Get employees. Okay, so currently I'm going to call. Am I writing any method in the repository now? I'm not writing any method in the repository. Okay, fine. So we are able to understand the custom queries concept. If you want the custom queries, I will give you. CRUD repository. These are the custom queries. Custom queries we created by using @query annotation. Custom queries I have given by using @query annotation. Perfect. Then JPA repository. So to work with the JPA repository, we are going to extend the properties. From JPA repository interface. That's it. So here in this repository now, you can write find by methods. You can write custom queries also. You can write find by methods and you can write custom queries also here. Find by methods and custom queries also you can write in this one now. Okay. Next, go to employee service, get employees. So let me go with the employee repo dot find all. What is the meaning of find all, guys? What is the meaning of find all?
Get all the objects.
Retrieve all the data from
get all the records which are available in the table. So I'm printing those records on the console by using for each method. It is just like CRUD repository method only. Find all method we are calling. It is going to return all the records available in the table and we are printing those records on the console. That is fine. In the console we are printing the records. All the records are getting printed. So there is no problem. Application started. So there are 4 records available. Records are printed. Okay. Now I want to print the records based on the sorting. So to do this sorting, you can use find all method with a parameter sort. I'm going to specify sort by. What is the property you want to sort? Employee name dot ascending. Earlier we called only find all method. So if you use just find all method, it will retrieve the records as it is. All the records it will retrieve as it is from the table. Now I am calling find all method with the sort by employee name ascending. Here you can call ascending or you can call descending also. Ascending means A to Z based on the employee name. Descending means Z to A. Alphabetical order, reverse of alphabetical order. Reverse of alphabetical order I am calling. So observe find all. For the find all, I am passing sort by. Sort by employee name descending. Run this application. Run as boot application. Now you see they are in the reverse of alphabetical order. Z to A, J, John coming last because it is a descending order. So you can sort based on any column in any order. So I want to sort based on the employee salary. Okay, then instead of name you can give salary. This is a variable name of the entity. Sort by the salary descending order. That means highest salary to lowest salary I'm going to retrieve. Go to the start class and run this. Find all with the sorting. So this sorting is available when you go for JPA repository. In the CRUD repository, this is not available. Now see 7654. Based on the salary, we are sorting in the descending order. Select the star from table, order by salary descending. So from the highest salary to lowest salary, we are getting the data. From the highest salary to lowest salary, we are getting the data. Are you clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sorting is completed. Okay, so this sorting is basically we are using with the sort method. That sort method we are passing to find all method. Sort method we are passing to find all method. So when you are calling the find all method, if you call directly, that means CRUD repository method. But for the find all, I am passing sort method. Sort by. By means on which column you want to sort the data. That column mapped entity variable you need to supply, and you can call ascending or descending order to sort the records. Is this clear? Very good. Fine. So tomorrow we are going to understand how to implement pagination and how to implement query by example. Okay, I have given one assignment to perform CRUD operations with the custom queries, and you need to analyze pagination and query by example before coming to tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we will work on that pagination and query by example. Today Java 17 free workshop available at 9 o'clock, guys. So you have 15 minutes break. Then after this, join for that Java 17 features workshop today at 9 o'clock. I hope you got the Zoom link for that workshop. Did you get the Zoom link for that workshop?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so please join for that Java 17 new features workshop. Okay.
సార్ సిఎస్వి ఫైల్ రిలేటెడ్ మీరు వర్క్ ఇచ్చారు కదా సార్, అది మేమే చేసుకోవాలా? ఒకసారి ఎప్పుడైనా
You have to do it. If you are not able to, then I will explain.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Sir, in real time also we need to every time configure in main method only. That means
No, madam. In the real time, controllers will come into picture. This is a standalone application, right? So we will have a controllers. In the web MVC, you will understand the real time flow. When we go for web MVC, then you will understand the real time flow.
sure, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
I will upload these notes, guys. Please do the practice before coming to tomorrow's session. Thank you. Have a great day.
Sir,
Please
sir,
attend
1 minute,
Java
sir.
17 workshop.
Hello, Ashok, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, I have some doubts, sir. Sir,
Your
I'm putting
voice
in the
is very
chat
low,
box.
sir. I can't hear your voice.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Tell me. I can hear you now.
Yeah. Sir, I have some doubt. I'm putting in the chat box, sir. This is the real-time project.
Guys, can anybody hear his voice? I'm not able to hear.
It's
Yes, sir.
not clear.
Now can you hear, sir?
No.
No, sir.
Speak loudly. जोर से बात करो.
1 minute, sir. So can you see the chat box, sir?
Yeah, I have seen. You need to develop a new project.
But in Spring Boot, I have only Java 8 now, sir. But Spring Initializer uses 17 now, sir.
Then you need to use a Spring Boot 2.x version, not 3.x version. If you use
How?
3.x version, 17 is mandatory. If you use any version related to 2.x, then Java 8 is sufficient for that.
Can I share my screen for a while, sir?
Yeah, you can share it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, I can see the screen.
Yeah. Sir, I created a project like this, sir. This is what is correct, sir. Weightless composite service. But this is not building it, sir. That's right.
Can you show me the versions that you have? Java 1.8 you have in the build path. Form.xml Spring Boot version, can you show me?
Yeah. This form.xml only I'm not able to configure it properly.
Group ID, artifact ID, parent is service here. Is it your company project or your personal project?
Yeah, this is company project, sir.
Spring Boot starter parent, dependency management, version. Where is the version? Come to properties section. Group service.
This form.xml I copied from another file, sir.
Scroll down. I am not able to see where the Spring Boot version is available. And your project is having some dependence. One project is extending the properties from another project. So we need to do some research, madam. It can't solve easily.
Okay. Now, if I want to create one new project,
Yeah, just go
I
to
have
that
done. No, I
initializer
have done,
website.
sir, actually. Okay. Yeah, one.
Go to the initializer website and you can create a new project.
So, yeah, but here it is Java and it is 3.3 version. How do I
From
change
here,
this?
it is not taking the version. It is they are asking you to work with the 3.2.8 only. Once the project is created, then change the version in the pom.xml.
So here, sir, if I've created one dummy project, sir.
Or else it's better you install Java 17 in your system.
Their ask is now currently is
Okay, then you need to do one thing. After creating the project, in the pom.xml, you need to change the version.
Sir, here I have created one project, dummy project. I changed the version like 8.
Keep 1.8, not 8.
Acha. And here it will be 2.4, the Spring Boot version.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's do the Maven update on the project. Right click on the project and do the Maven update.
First, save your Maven. Save perm file, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Save that and do the right click and Maven update.
One second. So the run as actually
Right
I'm
click
not.
on the Maven update. Right click Maven, update the project.
No, in the Maven
We have
itself.
Maven option is there, right? Last fifth
Maven.
number, yeah.
Left side update project.
Okay. Okay, once I will create one more, sir. I have added all the dependencies. Is this package name correct,
You
sir?
can give anything, no problem.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the new project, sir.
You need to change the version. Now right click on the project and do the
Model version is correct, sir.
That is
Model.
fine. You don't need to do anything for that. Right click on your Maven project.
Yeah.
Maven, update project.
Yes.
Force update.
Okay.
Yeah, now go to start class and run your application. It is running now.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you, sir. But why, sir, in Pamlat XML it is showing error only, sir?
That is fine. It is not able to download that latest update on the XML schema. You can ignore that file, no problem.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And classes are very helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Sir, I have sent a couple of questions in the chat. Just a couple.
Send in the group, sir. I will read that. Now we have a workshop class.
Okay. Okay, sir. Sure. Thank you.